Everybody Hates Rand is a Wheel of Time podcast that will contain spoilers for all 14 books. So if you're anti-spoiler, stop this, read all 14 books, and come back. We'll be here, waiting.
Our title is a joke and is meant to be taken as such. Everybody in this context refers to us and our cats. You are free to feel however you want about Rand. He's a fictional character. Please don't DM us.
The world is a mess, Dark One stretching out his hand. The dragon's reborn, the fire's been fanned, but everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand.
You'll never believe this, guys. It's another bummer.
Yeah, it's just sort of like bummer after bummer after bummer.
Yeah, the L's just keep on hitting us. When I saw there was a Gawain chapter in this series of chapters, I needed to lay on my back with my arms crossed across my chest and think of England. Because, God almighty, I hate that man.
He is really rancid in these chapters, too. Like, I feel like I'm going to say that every chapter. Like, every Gawain chapter is be like, wow, he's getting so much worse. But, like, this one really is giving, like, I don't believe women have agency.
Yeah, I mean, they're all, like, all the narrators in this particular section are quite bad. Rand, Gawain, and Cadsuan. But the levels of just, like, casual misogyny are unfucking believable.
Yeah.
Which is really saying something given that this is a series built upon casual misogyny.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what was happening over at Wheel of Time HQ with the sort of concocting of Gay Wintercand as a character, but it was absolute bottom of the barrel. Or maybe they really do think he's, like, cream of the crop.
Yeah, it's impossible to really tell the reasoning there.
Yeah, there's also a lot of, like, this particular set of chapters really dials in on the whole, like, really interesting in a bad way flavor of misogyny that's directed towards women who are traditionally, like, considered beautiful in the most, like, culturally
with the Arid Doman
stuff.
Just real quick, this is Everybody Hates Rand. I know 250 episodes in. Woo!
Yay!
Hurrah!
Huzzah!
It's difficult to pull a huzzah out of the ether these days, but it's there for you. Huzzah! We've done 250 episodes. By some miracle.
Yeah.
250 episodes worth of content in these bad boys. And at least another 50 more to come. How crazy that will probably end with a 300 episode.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
I hope we end with 303. So it's like 303 the
Don't
band.
trust
Which is, speaking of, the theme of these chapters. But anyway, I'm Emily Shusha.
And I'm Tally Goodger.
Yeah, we're hoes. We're both hoes.
Yeah, don't trust us.
Don't trust women who are pretty.
All they're gonna do is lie and fuck someone who's not you.
Yeah, and they're just manipulative by the very nature of being beautiful.
Yeah, all they're doing with their beauty, which is something they absolutely cannot control, it is just part of the, like, genetic lottery to be someone who is just, like,
conventionally attractive.
It's literally nothing that they have done to themselves in any way, shape, or form. That is something they're just, like, constantly using to make men do things they don't want to do, rather than just something that sits on their accident of a body.
Yeah.
It makes me so bad.
It's just, like, mind-boggling. Here we have the Arid Domani culture, which we're getting into.
Yeah.
Which we've had little not great flavors of throughout the series. Most of what we hear about the Arid Domani culture is that the women are merchants. It's a merchant-based society. The women are the merchants generally. That they're all very good at negotiating, and that a lot of that negotiating is built on their, like, sex appeal. Mm-hmm. Our main Domani character, I think, is probably Leanne.
Yeah.
Who famously, as soon as she's done being the, former keeper of the Chronicles, is like, I'm gonna go back to my roots, which is makeup.
Yeah.
Which, what we're seeing here is this, like, conflation between, you know, women choosing to modify their appearance or even just to wear certain things for pure enjoyment, which is, on some level, what Leanne seems to be doing a lot of the time. And women who are doing this for, like, purely mercenary reasons, as in to manipulate men.
Yeah.
And, of course, there is, you know, the Venn diagram there has a lot of overlap. Leanne's not just doing it because she enjoys it. It's also because she's manipulating men with it. Yeah. She uses it to manipulate men. But by sort of having that Venn diagram be as embedded as it is, we're losing the plot here a little bit, I think, and losing the reality that women can just choose to modify their appearance. And that's a totally separate thing from any form of manipulation.
Yeah, there's, like, absolutely no belief by any of the narrators. We even get a little bit of this from Cad Swan. So it's not necessarily just, like, the male characters. It's just sort of the narrative as a whole, like, refusing any sort of acknowledgement that women might dress a certain way or wear makeup or jewelry or whatever for their own enjoyment, regardless of whoever might look at them, male or otherwise. It's always, like, everything that women are doing to their appearance and their behavior is somehow for the benefit of men. Whether that benefit be, like, so men can enjoy them with their male gaze leaning towards the sexual gaze, or for men to enjoy that and then ultimately be manipulated by their enjoyment of that. Like, there's no just, like, women doing things because they like them.
Yeah, it's all centric around men.
Yeah, and there's also just the belief that, what am I trying to say here? Just going back to the idea that, like, Gawain has this just, like, rancid little monologue about Lelaine and how
Christ.
Lelaine...
She's the type of pretty that is... he, like, goes into this delineation of different types of beautiful. He's like, Edwene, basically what he's saying is, like, Edwene is that girl next door sort of beautiful. All wholesome, and, you know, you really just want to spend time with her. Whereas Lelaine is the sort of beautiful that you have to be wary of because blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. So, like, not only is there, like I was joking about at the beginning, no acknowledgement that women will do, you know, dress up for their own benefit. It's also just, like, a refusal to acknowledge that women just exist in the world. And that sometimes women just look a certain way.
Yeah, and that, crucially, looks and personality have little to do with each other.
Yeah.
Lelaine is a conniving bitch because she's a conniving bitch. Not because she looks pretty.
Yeah.
And she isn't, frankly, able to be a conniving bitch because she looks pretty. Lelaine has built herself up in a political spectrum that is based mostly on women. Mm-hmm. It's not like Lelaine has been manipulating men to get where she's going.
Yeah.
It seems she doesn't really have much experience talking to men, even.
Yeah, or anyone who's not an Aes Sedai.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, she's not out here femme fataling her way across the continent, you know?
Yeah. I think this really Eridomon and sort of our examination of it, or rather lack of examination of it, really gets down to the crucial point of the Wheel of Time, which is that for a purportedly feminist text, we've talked about this before, but just to rephrase it, a lot of the argument about Wheel of Time being a feminist text is that you have a lot of women characters and a lot of, like, women-run societies. Yeah. And as we have said before, like, it's not feminism if the women in this series are still, all of their power and all of their everything, all of their agency is still centered around men. Mm-hmm. That still puts men in the position of power.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, one more thing about Eridomon specifically is there are, to my understanding, the Eridomani people are people of color.
Yeah, they are darker skinned, we are told.
Darker skinned.
The phrase exotic is frequently used, or phrases like that with the Eridomani. So definitely some tropes we're playing into there.
Yeah, specifically this idea of, like, the Aradomani women wearing very, like, revealing sort of gauzy gowns really plays into, wow, our good old friend Orientalism.
Tee-hee. There she is.
Episode 250, we're hitting all the greatest hits.
That's my
Misogyny.
bestie, Orientalism.
Orientalism. Sort of this idea that, like, darker skinned women, particularly, again, with Orientalism in sort of, like, the Middle East, North Africa, the Far East, are somehow just, like, extremely sexually available and just sort of, like, walking around in revealing clothing, ripe for the taking, just sort of, like, oozing a sort of slutty nature about them.
Right.
Which is, of course, a disgusting trope that we have placed on women of these cultures, that they're just sort of peppering in here for, just to reiterate that this text hates women.
Yeah, it really comes back from Orientalism, from colonialism. It's just really gross. Especially because Rand, our white savior, literally,
Yeah.
is coming in here as an invading force.
Yeah.
But with the Aradomani, so clearly the goal here was to make a, like, society of femme fatales.
Yeah. Just
As
a
it were.
whole country of them.
So here are some things that our society of femme fatales, does not examine. What happens if you're not conventionally attractive?
Yeah.
What happens when you get older? Mm-hmm. What happens to the disabled? Mm-hmm. What is the cultural pressure upon these women to look and behave a certain way? Like, we're given an allusion in a paragraph that it was said that very young Damani girls practiced the art of manipulating men, preparing for the day when they would be of age. So, children,
Yeah.
presumably, are then learning how to, quote, manipulate men, which basically means, you know, sexualize themselves.
Yeah.
Which is grooming.
Yeah, which is grooming, which is disgusting.
Yeah, so, like, how does a culture that apparently is built upon grooming its entire female populace, how are we still like, but it's feminist?
Yeah. And I think just to, like, extra flag that, I think the idea that, like, particularly, like, young female children are also sexually available has a very interesting position within the Orientalist framework as well.
Yes.
Just to, like, flag the way that, like, young women of color are often sexualized in the way that young white women are not.
Yeah.
So, ew.
There's also, it plays a lot into our modern day culture, which affects pretty much all regions in America. The phrase you hear is jailbait,
Yeah.
which is women who are legally minors but are sexually appealing to men, children who are legally minors but who are sexually appealing to men. Totally gross phrase, totally gross concept.
Yes.
And that's exactly what we're playing into here, is that this is something that women are choosing to do. Again, not just like a roll of the genetic lottery to maybe when you are still in adolescence have developed the secondary sexual characteristics.
Yeah.
Large breasts or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think hell is like? Because that's
Probably
where
a lot like this. I don't know. Hosier's new album seeks to explore that, so perhaps stop listening to this and go listen to the new EP.
Yeah, you might as well. You might as well spend your time doing something
Useful,
useful.
culturally enriching,
Yeah.
entertaining,
Yeah.
pleasant. None of those things apply here.
Then there's just all the misogyny that isn't in the background as
It's just
Aerodon.
Straight up. Everyone being like, women be bitches.
Women be shopping. No, like, women be dead. Women be dying, and it's my fault.
You guys.
Can women not do fucking anything?
Yeah, women can't even die.
Women
these
can't even
days.
die in peace without a man being like, that's for me.
Yeah, what if I just mull over her death in graphic detail constantly?
Yeah, like, the level to which it's almost like, it feels like corpse desecration at this point.
It really does.
There's no actual corpse involved, but it's like, the soul, the memory of these women. Like, if you believe in ghosts, and I do, then this would be a much more interesting text if these dead women were haunting Rand, not because he killed them or let them die or whatever, but because he literally isn't letting them rest.
Yeah. Like, truly.
Yeah, this is how we get women in white, you know?
Yeah.
Sort of lady ghosts.
Like, would you fucking let me be?
Yeah, would you fucking let me die? Can I do anything?
Yeah, this is, of course, in reference to Rand opening this chapter with the line, like, Moiraine, who died because of me, or some shit.
Because I was too fucking weak to just kill Lanfear myself. And I'm like, that wasn't the takeaway from that little scene.
Yeah.
In my opinion. But my opinion doesn't matter.
And just for, like, pages, Brandon has Rand come back to this list as just, like, a grounding mechanic as he moves through Bandar Iban. We've arrived at the Eridamani capital. He is moving into his new seat of power. And as he walks through the city, commenting things like, wow, there's a lot of poor people here.
Wow, the women sure are sluts.
Yeah, just, you know.
Even the 12-year-olds. Sluts everywhere.
Just these really nice...
Anyway, dead women.
Commentaries. He's just constantly like, and this woman died because of me, and this woman died because of me. And as we've referenced multiple times, all these things are just like, it's not like Rand is some sort of serial killer going around actively killing women. He just happens to exist in a world where, oh my god, sometimes women die.
Yeah, these are just incidental deaths around him.
Yeah.
Rand has, by his own hand, killed a couple of these women, and they were for very justifiable reasons.
Yeah.
Self-defense, primarily.
So it's just like, seriously pages, like 3 or 4 pages of this list, and we finally get to the end, and Lutheran's like, don't forget about the woman I killed.
Lutheran's like, Ilyena, and Rand's like, alright, fine, I'll just slide that one in there.
God, speaking of people who should get to come back as revenants.
Ilyena should be actively haunting the narrative.
Yeah, I think
in a way that is more interesting.
Yeah, like if her ghost was actually there constantly being like, you suck!
Yeah, let women haunt the narrative.
Yes.
I believe in that.
That would be very sexy.
At the end, Lutheran is also like, and men, and Rand's like, she's still alive!
Lutheran's like, or is she?
Lutheran's like, not for long, bestie.
And Rand's like, well, I didn't kill her yet.
Well, I didn't kill her yet. That was Semiraj. It's so fascinating how Rand is able to, like, jump through this hoop and come to the sort of, like, correct conclusion that although he was the person, his were the hands that hurt men, he is not technically to blame for that. But he is not able to apply that logic to any of the other people who have died.
Yeah.
And also, like, yes, that logic is true, but again, we have still not had any sort of check-in with Min.
No.
And Rand is like, I haven't seen Min lately. God, I hope she's not avoiding me. And I'm like, well, there's a pretty easy way to find out how she's feeling about this whole situation, which is to ask.
Mm-hmm.
And not just be like, I hope she's not avoiding me. Hope she's not scared of me.
Why don't you communicate with your partner?
She might be scared of you, and you're just gonna have to live with that.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Also,
That's something you guys have to get past as a couple.
You're not exactly acting not scary lately.
Yeah, this is also the chapter when Rand is taking every opportunity to scare women. With his cold, dead eyes. His shark eyes.
Yeah, his dead fish eyes.
Yeah. A woman will come up and be like, say something moderately rude, and Rand will be like, look at my nuclear winter eyes. And they'll be like, never mind.
And Rand's like, it's another successful interaction.
Another success. Check.
Check. How to make friends and influence people. Check. Gosh, look at me, Randall Thor, going about my business in such an efficient and professional way.
He's like, I'm the best at ruling.
It's like, I'm the best at everything. Including killing women.
Yeah, and killing women. He's got such a high body count, according to himself. The only thing that happens is Rand enters Bandar Iban The capital city of Eridomon is like, wow, look at all the poor people. Look at all the sluts. Look at all the slutty poor people. What a shame.
Raise your hand if you're a slutty poor person.
Yeah.
I would like to unionize.
And he's like, Dobrain, you suck. You should have brought peace to more than this entire city. Have you thought about doing the entire country? And Dobrain's like, it's been 3 days.
Dobrain's like, listen, I'm just one little guy.
Yeah.
And I did a really good job, and maybe you should recognize that. And Rand's like, no, I don't trust you. I think you're a conniving little French bastard.
No, he's like,
So
Dobrain, can I trust him? And I'm like, not for long at this rate. Like, the best way to turn a loyal man disloyal is to treat them like this.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, Ruark, you suck. Every woman, you also suck. Cadsuan's an idiot if she's still following around because of this dumb loophole, and I'm just not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, she's wearing, like, a hooded cloak. I think it'd be way funnier if she was wearing a mask all the time, just like a carnival mask.
A clown mask.
Well, that's
because that's what she is.
The wise ones should make her wear a clown mask as punishment.
Send in the clowns!
It's just Cadsuan.
It's just Cadsuan and every other idiot in this series. Rand invades a woman's home because she's the last member of the council who still is in Bandari Bon. Has her brought to him and is like, where the fuck is the king? And she's like, bestie, literally no clue. No idea. And she's like, he's like, do you have like the last messenger of the king? She tries to get out of that. And he's like, no, I really want this guy. So bring him to me.
He does also call on the fact that she's a dumb slut too. Just
yeah, he lets us know. He lets us know that she has. Oh, this is a fascinating line. It covered her body. She's wearing a Domini dress. It covered her body from neck to toe, but was barely opaque and clung to every curve, of which she had more than her fair share. Now there are several interpretations possible here. One, the most obvious to me, fat phobia.
Yeah.
2, this is just a super, bodacious woman.
It's Jessica Rabbit.
And Rand is just saying, leave some for the rest of us. You don't need D cups.
Yeah.
Someone else out there has A cups. You could
share some of your titties.
Redistribute the wealth.
Tax
Comrade.
The big titty lady.
Comrade titties. Or interpretation 3, this woman has 6 breasts.
This is just a strange woman.
She has an extra ass,
She's got a lot of hips just sort of coming off.
She's some sort of eldritch monstrosity. And Rand is like, damn, that dress is slutty though.
I'm not even going to comment on the sort of like extra bones and
that really is how
organs.
Men in Wheel of Time would behave though. If they saw, like, an insane monster woman, they'd be like, pretty good tits, though. There are 7 of them, but more to go around, I guess.
Oh my god. Of which she had more than her fair share.
Episode 250, Comrade Titties.
Comrade Titties. Exclamation point. All capitals.
I'm joining the war on titties on the side of the titties. Rand is like, bring me this dumb messenger, and she's like, okay. Spooked. And then we have the weirdest time skip of all time, skipping Gawain's chapter here for a minute.
Yeah.
We skip Gawain's chapter, then we get a Cadsuan point of view, followed by a Rand point of view in the same chapter. And I seriously cannot tell if it has been like a day or weeks in
it's impossible.
Bandari Bon. It's super weird. Cadsuan kind of acts as though she's only been there for like a little while.
Yeah.
Because she's like, here, I'm just visiting this, one of my informants here in the city, which is a guy who's super rich and owns an inn as a hobby.
Yeah, but it's like a fancy boy inn.
Yeah, it's a fancy boy inn for fancy boys.
For fancy boys.
It's like the opposite of the master of the house in Les Miserables.
Yeah, she's like, there are white tablecloths, and he's wearing a silk vest.
This man invented 3-star Michelin dining.
Yeah, he was like, listen, I'm not one of those basic bitch innkeepers.
This is not Chili's.
This is not Chili's.
Welcome to Not Chili's.
Welcome to Not Chili's.
I'm sorry, this is the most unhinged episode we've done in a while.
It's not Chili's, it's the Cheesecake Factory. Thank you very much.
Upscale. Cat Swan goes to visit this man, which, you know, it's so nice to have representation of rich men with hobbies.
Sure.
R.I.P.
nice
to those guys who died trying to see the Titanic. Oh, did you hear another billionaire died doing, like, racing?
Oh my god.
Like, car
Good.
racing? I know. I was like, damn, that's so funny.
I saw a video today where it was like, orca attacks another boat, and I'm like, good.
No, they should.
At this point, I don't even care if it should mostly be rich people boats, which it seems to be, but like, maybe we should just stay out of the ocean for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe the orcas have finally just, like, had fucking enough, and we should respect that.
Listen, I think orcas are God's most terrifying creatures.
I agree.
They're horrendous. But if they want to take mastery of the ocean, I say give it to them.
Yeah, like, the ocean...
That's fine. I'm in a landlocked state, baby. I'm not going near the ocean anyway.
Yeah, the ocean has been abused enough, and if I was the sort of, like, ecosystem that had some just sort of, like, terrifying powerhouse at my disposal, I too would send the orcas to our defense. Against rich people specifically.
To kill the yachts.
Bite them.
Bite them, chomp them. Okay, anyway, Cat Swan visits this inn, and this guy's like, the only interesting information she gets from him is that, unlike what usually happens when Rand enters a city, instead of there being like an insane amount of bad, weird things happening and also good, weird things happening, it's just bad, weird things happening.
Yeah.
So that's like mildly upsetting.
Yeah.
From a structural standpoint. Cat Swan then leaves. She sort of like runs into Rand riding along and just has to like... Rand says she's scuttled away, which I think is so funny. I'm imagining her crab walking in her clogs.
Yeah.
And she finally is like, let's face it, Cat Swan, you done fucked up. So she goes to the wise ones and is like, I have a plan.
And they're all like, well, your plans always work out really well.
Yeah, your plans are great. If I was Sorelia, I'd just be like, listen, you had your chance.
Yeah.
And we're not here for it anymore. And I think that would have been not only fitting, but also a hilarious power move of the wise ones.
Yeah.
To just be like, we're sick of it.
Yeah.
You guys have not done any good shit since you've been here. We liked Egg, and that was it.
Yeah, Egg's the only one we respect.
And even she's on thin ice now that she's the Amerlin seat. So,
Yeah.
like, maybe just stay out of our business.
Yeah.
Do your thing. Anyway. We'll find out more about Cat Swan's plan later. Rand, meanwhile, is walking around scaring women. Oh, he also has the nuclear codes with him, aka the, access key to the Choden Call, of which only the male one is left, remember, because God forbid women do anything, including have nukes.
He's just, like, legitimately carrying it around in a fanny pack.
Yeah, it's...
Everywhere he goes.
This is my nuclear fanny pack.
He's just like, this is my little guy.
Yeah. Rand is riding around and is talking to one of these Ashman who's sort of, like, on the mission team to form a meeting with the Shanshin. And this guy's like, listen, they're just not agreeing to meet on any neutral ground. And Rand, like a fucking coward, is like, okay, well, let's just meet them on their ground.
Bootlicker.
And it's like, what? Everyone's like, well, that's stupid. Because then, you know, they could just kill you or whatever. And Rand's like, no, it'll be fine, blah, 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 blah. And Nynaeve's like, this sounds suspiciously like what you said before you got your arm blasted off.
Yeah.
And into smithereens. So, noted. Also, Flynn, Damer Flynn, DILF of the century, like, dares to speak up and be like, I don't think what the problem between, like, Rand says, we have to make peace with the Shanshin, differences notwithstanding. And Flynn's like, I don't think those are just differences. I think those are, like, serious ideological rifts.
Yeah.
They are trying to enslave all of us.
Yeah.
You can't really just get past us.
Yeah.
And Rand just does his little, nuclear winter gaze on Flynn. And Flynn also is spooked. So I guess it's equal opportunity glaring at anyone who dares to speak out against him.
Yeah, but, like, good for Flynn. We now have dissension against the Shanshan at, like, 2 people.
Yeah, it's Flynn and one of these maidens.
Yeah.
So maybe they should band together, kill Rand, and form a Weekend at Bernie's style.
Yeah.
This is actually the Dragon Reborn. We're puppeting his dead body.
That would be amazing.
I think we've proposed that before, actually. We've
Yeah.
been like, this would be such a better narrative if Rand just died.
If Rand just ate it. If
And
he
everyone
just
had to be like, ooh, Dragon
beefed
Reborn's
it.
still alive, still totally gonna win.
beefed it.
Rand talks to Nynaeve, generally, at least at the start, more civilly than anyone else he has spoken to. He kind of just is like, hey, Rand, hey, Nynaeve, how's Lan? She's like, well, he's on this dumb suicide mission, but I'm trying to make it as unsuicidal as possible, and it would be a real big favor if you would help me out and lend one of your 1 million armies to the cause. And Rand goes, no, I don't think I will. And Nynaeve's like, why? And Rand's literally like, because I think Lan's death, suicidal charge, could be a really nice distraction for me. For the, distract the bad guys while I do something else. And Nynaeve's like, somehow I don't kill you right now.
Yeah.
Rand's like, I'm super impressed at Nynaeve keeping her temper. And I'm like, I'm super impressed at Nynaeve keeping her temper. If someone said to me, I'm deliberately not going to send aid to your husband because his death would be pretty convenient for me, I'd be like, well, that's it.
Any last words?
Any last words, friendo?
You talking about the numbers?
You're talking about the numbers.
Sorry. That was such a weird associative leap in my brain.
Okay, required reading for this episode. You have to go on YouTube and search Mike's Mike recap of Lost Season 1.
Yeah.
That was what we've been into for the last few days.
You talking about the numbers?
Anyway, yeah, if I was Nynaeve, I would either kill Rand or just be like, I'm leaving.
Yeah, fuck you. You stupid bitch.
There are enough people in this story being like, fuck it, we ball.
Yeah, I have literally, like, nothing is keeping most people here except, like, very loose ideological strings.
Yeah, it is only Matt. Matt is the only one who has ever been like, you know what, I don't want to be here anymore, so see ya.
Yeah.
Except then the narrative keeps being, like, shoved back into place, and he keeps being like, boy, am I having some problems with this narrative.
Yeah.
But that at least is interesting.
Yeah.
Rand goes, this is where it gets confusing about how much time has passed. Rand gets back to the house that he's staying in, and, like, during that whole ride, it seemed like it had been weeks or something, because he gets back, talks to Ruark, and is like, how many council members have we found now? Seems like it's taking a while, and Ruark's like, we've got 4 now, and we have, like, confirmed deaths of some others. I'm like, okay, so they must have been here for weeks. But then the original 6-breasted woman comes in and is like, sorry, that messenger you sent me to get is dead, actually. And I'm like, he sent her off to do that in the last chapter? Has it been an hour?
Yeah.
Like, that task couldn't have taken weeks.
Yeah, and this
Or
woman
even
is
days,
wearing
frankly.
the same dress, which I know people repeat outfits, but it's, like, seems to indicate
That it's
that
only
she
been
hasn't
a little while.
changed.
It's
Yeah.
so weird.
So who fucking knows how long we've been here.
Anyway, Rand concludes that, like, this messenger was imprisoned by this woman and more or less just, like, left to die. And he's like, well, you should receive the same treatment. This is Rand, champion of women's health and safety, being like, goodbye, drag away screaming.
Enjoy the dungeon. We won't kill you, though.
I'll make sure you don't die, so I don't have to deal with your ghost, but into the dungeon you go. And Nynaeve is like, well, this is pretty bad. And then brings up Lan again, which is it's just, like, weird narrative writing. It's like, we shouldn't be coming back to this
Yeah,
conversation.
we've
We
already
should have just
finished it.
had the conversation when it happened.
Yeah.
But it's just so, like, Rand can blow up at her and everyone can just, like, scatter and leave him to his solitary throne. That sort of imagery. Anyway.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Gawain's like, hey, everyone, listen. I think we should rescue Egg. And everyone's like, she told us not to, and it's fine. And he's like, but have you considered that I have a penis? And I said so.
And they're all like, I did consider that, and it makes me less inclined to listen to
They're
you.
like, we did consider that because you won't let us forget it, because you're swinging your little, you know, phallic instrument around
Yeah.
at anyone who will listen. Look, yeah, we're pretty confident in the knowledge that you have a dick and want us to know about it.
Yeah.
You're that type of guy. So, Gawain's like, these stupid idiots just can't do anything.
Sorry, this chapter opens with Gawain, like, flashing back to his dad.
Oh.
Or, like, at some point, he is like, I don't really remember my dad, this dumb Kyrian asshole, except for this one memory where he's telling young Galad not to trust women.
Don't trust pretty women or Aes Sedai, and especially don't trust pretty Aes Sedai. So that goes back to our whole, you know,
Yeah.
women, they just be manipulating men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so random.
Then Gawain gives all this, like, insider information about Elaine's likely policy decisions, which is ridiculous considering Gawain hasn't seen Elaine in about 2 years.
Yeah, I think a really funny outcome of this plot is everyone being like, well, surely the First Sword of Andor knows everything, and he's just giving absolutely nonsensical information.
Yeah, it might have redeemed Gawain slightly if he was doing it intentionally.
Yeah.
If he was just like, I'm not gonna tell
I don't fucking know what she's doing with the fucking cherry orchards.
Yeah, but he's just like, well, genuinely, I think that she'll do this. And it's like, you're so boring.
Yeah, what if you were like...
Don't you even want to have fun?
Don't you want to, like, lie a little bit? Don't you even want to get, like, a little bit silly?
Don't you want to be a little slutty like the Domani?
And just, like, do a little bit of lying and
Yeah.
manipulating. And girl bossing and gatekeeping and gaslighting.
Gawain goes to meet Gareth Bryn, who's like, hey, I need you to tell me about your group of soldiers that you were leading in raids against me. Which, frankly, I don't think Gareth Bryn would ask this.
I don't know, it made sense to me. Like, I don't...
It makes sense from, like, a military standpoint, but Bryn being our most honorable man,
Yeah,
I
that's
feel like
true.
would understand that, like, Gawain's not about to even broach the topic. I don't know, it just seemed kind of, like, skeezy to me for some reason. But Gawain is also the idiot who came into Gareth Bryn's camp fully with all this knowledge in his head about an enemy's movements, so really, this is his fault. Anyway, Gawain's like, I'm not gonna tell you shit about them, and you can torture me if you want to. And Bryn's like, obviously I'm not gonna do that, because unlike everyone else in this series, I have a moral compass, skewed though it may be.
It does occasionally point north.
He's like, but if they keep being a problem, then, like, this is gonna come up again. And Gawain's like, don't worry, it won't be a problem, because they're nothing without me. And Gareth Bryn's like, it's so refreshing to see your ego unfazed from the last 11 books of failure that you've experienced.
Gawain's never failed in his life.
Truly remarkable.
Everything Gawain has been correct and successful. He has an EGOT.
Then Bryn and Gawain have a frankly insulting conversation about how only military leaders ever question, like, the morality of what they're doing.
God, I know.
Bryn's like, yeah, if you're just, like, a soldier, then of course you never think about these sorts of things, because soldiers are dirty and uneducated, and they just don't worry about questions of morality. And I'm like, those are absolutely the guys thinking about what they're doing, because they're the ones who actually have to face the consequences of what is going on.
Yeah, they're the ones who are actually killing people for you most of the time.
Yeah, this is like, what Bryn's doing here is like big Vietnam military leader thinking, which I read a book pretty recently about how, like, a lot of the problems with Vietnam and a lot of what led to such high levels of PTSD amongst the soldier population was that, like, the leaders themselves were just not facing the same levels of threats.
Yeah.
It was such a bureaucratic operation.
Yeah, and it's, like, yeah, bureaucracy at its finest. Like, there's no there's like a total dehumanization of people who are actually doing the grunt work.
Yeah, if you're just moving around numbers on a battlefield, then of
Yeah.
course you're not going to be thinking about that as much because you're able to distance yourself from that.
Yeah, so Bryn is being a piece of shit.
Yeah, it's just completely backwards thinking. And him just being like, Galen, you're just having this existential crisis because you're educated and rich, and that's the type of person who has an existential crisis. And it's like, first of all, this is so fucking stupid and mean.
Yeah, it's also like, I cannot stress enough how fucking boring this plot is to me. Bryn is constantly like, you have to decide, like, what you're fighting for, and Gawain opens, like we talked about many episodes ago, with his dumb fucking metaphor about how he can't see the stars and he doesn't know where he's going and he just feels so lost and he has no cause. And it's like, I don't care. Like, I do not care about sad little rich boys who feel like they don't have a purpose. That could not be a more boring character to me.
Yeah, why don't you go try and look at the Titanic and see how you feel that? You stupid.
Like,
it's also just doesn't make sense, because at this point Gawain does seem to have a purpose. It is obviously a misguided, silly one that we don't agree with, but he does seem very committed to, like, being on Egg's side.
yeah, Bryn continues to swing wildly from saying just like the most out of pocket, out of character shit to actually good things when he's like, well, why aren't you in Andor with Elaine? And Galen's like, I will be once I rescue Egg. And Bryn's like, Egg does not want to go to Andor. And Galen is like, well, I'll make her. And he's like, you'll make her?
You'll make her?
You'll force her to go somewhere she doesn't want to go? Will you basically just throw her over your shoulder and carry her off like a bully?
He's like, that's great. Good luck on the marriage.
Yeah, and Galen's like, well, no. And it's like, well, yes.
Well, yes, that's what you just said.
Sorry, guys, I'm getting heated because I hate him so much.
Yeah, he's really, really tough to deal with.
Just
Galen's like, God, wow, really? For the first time, I'm really thinking, what if Edwin doesn't want to go with me? And I'm like, I am so bored of you even thinking about this.
Listen, if you can't handle being the first man of Tarvalon, step aside, because I will.
There are any number of people lining up for that position.
Yeah.
It would be an honor to marry Egg.
Yeah.
You know? And if you can't handle it because you need to be the man in charge, I hate to break it to you guys, but this is going to be an ongoing issue for the next 3 books. Like, literally just Gawain being like, how do I be less politically important than my girlfriend and have less power than her? Oh my god, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to a man.
Yeah. Like, if you can't handle having a powerful girlfriend, leave.
Don't have a powerful girlfriend then. I'm pretty sure she can do fine without you. Is that what scares you? That she can do fine without you? That she's not dependent upon your whims and your muscles?
Wow. It must be really hard to be a man in a society that empowers women instead of telling you that you're the most important thing in the world. I just can't even imagine how hard that would be.
And it must be so hard to be a man in a world where even a hint of cleavage is a sign that that woman is out to get you.
Yeah, is out to kill you. I mean, there are a lot of men in our world who behave like this.
Yeah, what's troubling about the whole thing, Gawain wouldn't hit such a nerve if he wasn't such an accurate portrayal of a certain type of man in our world.
Yeah.
He's annoying because on some level he is true.
Yeah.
And that's just not what I want in my fantasy books. I want to escape from those men.
I don't want, I see enough of that. Thank you. I have experienced those men in real life.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't need them. Okay, guys. Well, it was a bummer, but we had some laughs. Send in the clowns.
You're talking back to numbers.
Okay, next up we have another 3-chapter section, I believe. A couple of those will be from Nynaeve's point of view. I believe the first Nynaeve point of view we've had in this book.
Is it Nynaeve assassinating Rand? Because
It
that's
sure
what I
should
want.
be. Then we'll get another bad Matt chapter. But we'll start to unravel the Varen mystery.
Oh, Rand did have a little spirit vision of Matt and Perrin, and he's like, why is Perrin with Galad? So maybe we'll catch up with that plot at some point.
Not in this book. That is yet another timeline discrepancy. He has visions of them as they are distant into Towers of Midnight.
He's like, Matt's in Camelin, and Rand is standing next to Galad, a white cloak?
I don't know what's happening. And it's like, me neither, bestie.
Can you see the future?
Brando, you're just giving us these little plot hints or something?
Brandon doesn't believe in timelines.
Yeah, I guess not. Thanks to Glenn Mackenzie for our theme song.
Yes.
Thanks to our patrons on Patreon, our followers on social media. Thank you, dear listeners, for 250 episodes.
Yeah!
Booyah.
Booyah! Should we end with a favorite character so far, least favorite character so far in the whole series?
Well, it's pretty obvious in the series.
Yeah.
Well, Rand is definitely my least favorite character of the series so far.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Damerflin's pretty up there right now.
Yeah, Damerflin's really being an A-grade hottie.
Yeah.
Being like, maybe we don't collaborate, you fucking bootlicker, bitch.
That was pure sex appeal.
Yeah.
He was the sexiest person in that chapter, but only because the woman with 8 breasts was in the chapter before that.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, good for her. Imagine getting dressed every day. Good thing she only has to wear see-through gowns.
Yeah, no bras.
Yeah, just...
Imagine the bill. The VS bill.
The Victoria's Secret bill. She's in Victoria's Secret, like, I need 19 triple F cup bras.
Now here's where it gets complicated. Some of them are D cups and some of them are... Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.